The Sex and the City reboot, and Just Like That, was disappointing on a number of levels, from the absence of Samantha to thin storylines around complex topics like gender and sexuality. The show failed to deliver, and when it came to financial lessons, there wasn't much to love there either. Here's my take. Now, part of me was looking forward to catching up with the high-fashion Sunday brunch crew, including Carrie, Miranda, and Charlotte. I was especially curious to see how money was woven into the show. Now, since the series started in the late 1990s, we watched Carrie make questionable financial choices that in the end left her pretty broke. She had a closet full of shoes, $40,000 worth of Manolo Blahniks to be exact, but less than $1,000 in savings. When it came to either buying her apartment or getting kicked out, she guilted her wealthy friend Charlotte into giving her the money to afford the down payment. I'm talking about a full-on verbal attack. The level of financial entitlement and unchecked privilege in the original series was hard to watch for me and a lot of people sometimes. So, how is Carrie doing these days? Well, in the reboot, and Just Like That, we find the sex columnist far more financially comfortable, like rich. Her marriage to Mr. Big now affords her a lavish lifestyle and seemingly no financial worries. It's a fairy tale ending. I mean, if you're into that man being your plan sort of ending. But then we quickly learn that it is not happily ever after. In the weeks following her husband's sudden death, Carrie is left scrambling to search for answers, including financial ones. She doesn't know passwords to accounts, and it is only after Big suffers a fatal heart attack when Carrie learns the details of her late husband's will, which begs the question, why wasn't she involved in the estate planning? Now, to be fair, I'm equally frustrated with Mr. Big for failing to involve Carrie in their financial plans. I mean, who knows, maybe he tried. But as two adults, they should have both been more mature and financially buttoned up in their marriage, right? It's a lesson for all of us that even if there is more than enough money in your relationship, talking about money should not be ignored. And too often it is an unspoken matter, and I can only guess that this was the case with Carrie and Big. He made the money, and she spent it. Now, while Big left the bulk of his millions to Carrie, she is blindsided to learn about a 7-figure inheritance left to his ex-wife.
Here it is, $1 million.
What's all the drama? What's the charity? Natasha?
His ex-wife.
Forget how awkward that is, but I was also disturbed with how the show treated this $1 million. I mean, really, to try to help Carrie feel better, her friend Charlotte said it's really just a whole lot less than we think.
$1 million. Hello?
Everyone calm down. After taxes, it's really only $450,000.
Right, just 9 times the average person's salary in this country. It's a rounding error. And Natasha refuses the money anyway. She won't take it on principle, which I can respect, but that's gotta be nice. Beyond this, Carrie also exhibits a carelessness, a recklessness with money, which shouldn't have shocked me. I mean, it's sort of reminiscent of how she behaved with money back in the day. For example, in one scene, we watched her buy an apartment only to sell it a few days later because she just didn't have the guts to tell the realtor she didn't want it in the first place. I mean, can you imagine that? And maybe I'm biased because I host my own podcast and I'm very proud of it. It's called So Money. But another frustrating plot line from the new series is that Carrie does not have her own podcast. She doesn't have her own anything, at least not in the beginning. She's a guest on someone else's show. Do we not remember who Carrie Bradshaw is? Let's refresh. An internationally recognized best-selling author, syndicated columnist, Vogue contributing editor. How does she not have her own show already, huh? What happened to all of her other revenue streams, all her other work? It doesn't seem like she has any streams of income other than guesting on someone else's podcast. This felt like a real letdown, a missed opportunity to tell a different, more uplifting story of what happens to your career and your finances in your 50s and later on in life. That maybe you don't go out to pasture, that this is the time in one's life that becomes reinvigorated. You embark on new opportunities, you make bold moves, you leverage decades of experience and hard lessons won, and turn those into exciting new projects and a more empowered life. The Carrie I knew, I think, would have been up for that. But I guess the writers had A different vision? So while the show is entertaining for the fashion, the lifestyles, and watching the friendships evolve, it is far from an ideal financial reality. Let's not look to the show for permission to be frivolous, to not have a financial plan, and to not talk about money when it matters. It's not fabulous. For more reviews of And Just Like That, check out this in-depth piece by my colleague Laura Michelle Davis. And what about you? Were there any financial lessons that you took away from this show or didn't? Leave us your comments below. If you like what you're watching, make sure you hit that subscribe button and share. Thanks for tuning in. For CNET Money, I'm Farnoosh Torabi.